Steven, I'm not. Oh, never mind. All right. Good evening, everybody. Those in Liberia, we say good evening to you, or maybe good night. I think it's 7 p.m. in Liberia. We say good evening. Welcome to Liberia Show Rise. Forgive me for the noise in the background.
Special guest.
I'm your host, Augustine Sharif, and I'm here with Mr. Sabu Lucia. How you doing today, boss?
I'm wonderful. Thank God. And you?
So far, so good. I think there's some kind of delay.
Can you hear me?
All right, I'm hearing you now. So, how you doing from your end, boss?
Oh, I'm good. Thank God. Everything is wonderful. Our weather is now becoming nice. I know you guys are getting in the danger zone for cold, but our weather is nice for us now. So that's good.
All right. I mean, when you're leaving Liberia, coming to the States, you always tell your friend you're going to the cold. So why are you afraid
Mhm.
of the cold?
No, me,
Tell
I
me.
let the heat. That's why I chose Texas.
All right. Good evening, everybody. And those in the US, we say good afternoon to you. Welcome to Liberia Shall Rise. Today, again, we're having another edition of Table Talk. We are going to be putting our mouths where apparently we should not put our mouths. But we are going to be discussing some things that are very, very important. We will give you something to think about. By the time the show ends today, you'll be thinking, I wonder we should listen to those foolish guys. Or I wonder what they were saying. There's some truth to it. So, just share the broadcast, give the information to as many people as you can, and be part of the show. If you would like to participate, you can call us. You can actually send us your information on Facebook, on YouTube, and we are going to be discussing some things. Sabo Lucia, what we're going to do though, I know usually we like to do the rapid fire. I want to save the best for last today. We're going to be talking about the legislative body. Do we even need a legislature? Is the legislature necessary? Is this legislature holding us back? What can we really put our fingers on to say legislatively so and so legislature have done this and it brought development or improvement to his or her uh, um, jurisdiction. So we want to be looking at some of those things, the necessity of the legislature. That's one thing. I know exactly the direction we're going to go. But before we do that, though, I want to go back and just kind of briefly talk about the president's visit that he just did had in France. He was in France, and I believe while he was in France, he actually did have the opportunity of meeting with the delegation, the not delegation, but the Liberian community in France. And while he was there, there were some things that actually came up, which was kind of eye opening for me. The peace ambassador spoke, and one of the things that they have recommended, number one, is they would love to see that there is a passport. Talking about decentralization, Steve. So they want to see that if there could be a passport hub in France where they are, because right now, in order for them to get passport, they have to leave France, go to Brussels, and be able to get exactly what just to renew that passport, to renew that credential. There is nothing in France where they are located. So that was one of the recommendations they presented to the foreign minister and also to the president. That hey, if there can be a hub here in France where we live, so we are able to actually renew our passport and be able to do what we want to do instead of traveling all the way to Brussels. It may not be a long distance, but it is still an inconvenience because train moving around Europe is very easy. But they look at that to be an inconvenience. Why can we
Mhm.
not have it where we are? So I want you to kind of add your voice to that. Is there some kind of validity to what they say, or is just cherry picking?
No, it's not cherry picking. It's their right as Liberians. I mean, if they are in a different domicile, why can't they have a passport hub there? It's the same issue that we're facing here in the United States, right? You and I in the south region of the United States, we don't have a consulate office. So whenever we need visa, whenever we need Americans, we have people who want to travel to Liberia and they need visa, they have to either travel to Washington D.C. And when you go to Washington D.C., it's not even fast coming. Some people spend a week and they still don't get a passport. They have to come back home and wait for a time or visa before they do the same. So I hear their pain, okay, and I feel that pain as well because if I'm in France, why do I have to take a train? That's an additional expensive, and we don't know what hurdle they're going to go through when they get to Brussels, because we in the United States will face problem when we get to Washington D.C. To even get to the embassy, they will start drilling around. Okay, and the same practices almost in Liberia, like similar practices want to establish here in the United States. So in Europe, where somewhat, in my opinion, that people may not have the kind of oversight that we have here in America, where language also could be a barrier. I don't see where there will not be much more of a problem. So yes, I see that. I mean, I think I feel they're playing. I mean, they're paying, and I think the government. I thought they had an embassy in France as well. But if we got consulate office in France, I think we should have a place that they can have access to passport or visa or whatever they need for Liberia as Liberian citizens or Liberian descendant.
Dr. George, welcome to the broadcast. I mean, this is the only show where we call you doctor, so you are welcome, sir. Yeah, so it's good to have you. But basically, before we get to the meat of our topic today, we are just kind of making a roundtable discussion here on the president's recent visit to France and some of the proposals that were placed on the table by Liberians in France. One of these recommendation was, hey, we need to have our own passport office in France. I don't have to go to Brussels to get a passport. We can have one right here in France versus going to Brussels. That was one of the things that they put on the table. Dr. George, you have traveled quite a bit. Is that a reasonable request? I don't know exactly if I did not know that we did not have a passport hub in France. But is the government obligated to have a passport hub in every country where its citizens are? I mean, with European or European Union, if they have it in Brussels, what's the problem with it? People can just go to Brussels, get the train, go to Brussels, and get a passport renewed, versus having it in France, having it in Germany and other places. What are your voice to this, Dr. George?
Oh, yeah. I mean, is it a good request? Yes, it's a good request. It's a reasonable request. Yes, a reasonable request. But is it a request that the government can fulfill? The answer is no. So we have to be realistic, right? It's reasonable but not realistic. The reason why it's not realistic, look at your national budget. 36.7% of the national budget go to support 1% of the population. Look at our embassies around the world. The one we have is ill-equipped, not well maintained. We have poor staffing. So when you cannot afford to run an embassy in major countries, how will you be able to develop consulate in other parts, in other places? So it's just something that we can afford. But I think what we need is the efficiency. We need for example, if you take the number that the Liberian embassy has on their website, you call that number, it will ring the whole day, nobody will pick it up. It will ring the whole month, nobody will pick it up. So that's a challenge. We need efficiency. Once we make the process efficient, then I know that when I send my passport, I will get it in 2 days, I will get it in 3 days. But it's the inefficiency that is making many people to demand to have consulate in the place you have a good Liberian population, which is good. But I don't think we as a country can afford it, except we have a Liberian citizen that is highly permanent and is able to take that extra responsibility, like you have, for example, in Monrovia. The Norwegian embassy has a consulate, but even with that, the consulate officer, which is at Simenko, when you go to get a Norwegian visa in Monrovia, you go to Simenko, they're still going to send our passport to Cote d'Ivoire before it come back. But it would take a week to come back. That's how efficient it is. It would take a week, take 3 days or 4 days. Your passport will definitely be back once they check they cross the T's and check the I's and send it to Cote d'Ivoire. You're going to come back in time for you to pick it up and make your travel. But again, it's the efficiency. I think that's why we are questioning. Most people are questioning. That's why they're asking for embassies to be in the local area.
All right, Dr. Paul, did you want to add? Because I really want to go to a second request that they made. So
So just to add my own little sense, I think I agree 100% with Dr. George for the first time. So because the inefficiency of the passport system in Liberia is a big problem, right? Even Liberians in Liberia cannot get passport. Then we go and add other places like the one that was established here in DC, in Minnesota. All of them are not functioning at all. So adding another location will be a waste of the country money. I think, like Dr. George said, we have to look at how best we can fix the locations that we have. Find a team that will basically work on how can we make Liberian passport efficient. How can we deliver a Liberian passport in all countries where we operate in at least a week time, right? Even in Monrovia, you pay for the expedition, you pay your $80, you pay your $100. I, for one, had to work for a month before I got my passport in Liberia. So until that process is fixed, I don't think we should open another consulate anywhere. Thank you.
Once you say she's surprised that this is the first time you agree with Dr. George, but it's all good. but basically, I'm not going to spoil that name. The office in DC, they have been nice. When I have sent in my document, I get it back on time. So far, so good. I went to the office there. I was able to get what I wanted. So I don't have any issues there whatsoever. The one in New York, I have not been there, so I'm not gonna say anything about it. If there was one in Minnesota, I've never been to that one, so I can speak to that. But another request that they actually put on the table, which is actually something that everywhere this president have gone, people have actually asked for the same thing, is the issue of travel, the issue of traveling from abroad to Liberia. So the citizens in France, they were able to also tell the president, say, look, Mr. President, traveling to Liberia is such a headache. We have to jump from here to over there, to jump from here over there. Can you try to renegotiate the agreement with Air France so Air France can start going back to Liberia? Those of you guys who travel with Air France, if you ever did, what was the efficiency with that airline? Did you enjoy your flight? Is it something that we want back? Is it even doable? Should we even go down that hole? When the president was here, we brought to his attention that, hey, can we get Delta Airlines to go back to Liberia? So we are asking for this particular thing. Is it doable? Is it feasible? Is it something that can even work? Let me start with you, Dr. George, and I'll go to Mr. Sapalucia.
I've never ridden Air France before, so I cannot speak to their services. Personally, I have two airlines that I love, but I don't have money to ride them. British Airways and how they call it, and Emirates. Those are my two favorite airlines. And they don't fly to Liberia anyway. British Airways has special discount. The time needs to travel, they have special discount for people who work in religious institutions, so it was good. In fact, they were the first airline that put me on first class, without me paying for first class. So I know nothing about Air France. I cannot speak to Air France. I never read that plane before. But look, when airline is business, right? I have one of my mentor who used to share this with me and say, Emmanuel, the business will eat not for profit, but also not for loss. So we have to make money. The balance sheet must be correct. So the airline industry is to make money. People wonder why you don't have a lot of planes coming to Liberia. Ask how many Liberians travel. How many of us travel? Most of the planes that go to Liberia, they are like a pick and drop. When you saw Ratese, Monrovia, you pick here, they pick you here, they drop you, and pick another post. So you take a plane from Brussels, they drop in Sierra Leone before they come to Liberia, or they drop in Liberia and go to Sierra Leone and pick passenger so that they can have enough passenger to go back. So we don't have a lot of Liberians traveling. The denial rate for Liberians at embassy is high. It's very high. I remember when I went to Abuja to get a visa to go to Thailand. The guy told me if it was not because of your personality and the way I know you, why I'm going to do it in Thailand. So I look at the consular officer as I had to laugh at him. I said, "You're not serious." And I had to give me that visa to how to call it. But you had to go again. The world Liberia people you had to travel. If you want to go to Thailand from Liberia, I'll go all the way to Abuja. Spend 3 or 4 days in Abuja. 1 day for you to do your application, 1 day for them to review, and the third day they give you your visa. Then the 4th day you leave Abuja to go back to Monrovia to get flight to go to. If you don't have the money, either get flight, you don't go back to Liberia, you stay in Abuja and fly to Thailand. So we just need to increase our economy. I think that's my biggest argument. If the economy is good, more Liberians have money in their pocket. More Liberians will not have to be economic refugee in the West. We return home, and once we return home, the airlines will be busy. We'll have a lot of passengers traveling. If you go to a country like we go to Nigeria, for example, right? In the days down, you can have 10 different airlines landing. All the airlines will be full to capacity. All of them will be full to capacity. Not then you will have about 3 cargo plane landing, 3 or 4 cargo plane landing. We don't have that in Liberia because we are not travelers. We are not doing a lot of businesses internationally, and our visa denial rate is extremely high.
So in short, Dr. George is saying it is not a reasonable request by Liberians in France to ask the president to renegotiate with Air France for us to start going back to Liberia. Dr. Sapolucia, Mr.
No, it's a reasonable request. I will always tell you, Bossman, that the request is very reasonable. If it's realistic, like a question that we need to answer.
Okay.
That's where the problem the issue is.
Thanks for the clarification.
It's not reasonable.
Sapolucia, go ahead.
Yeah, it is reasonable, and Dr. George touched on most of the economic factors. But let us also look at security. Here we are when we go to when the flight land in Liberia, or sometimes when flights are attempting to land in Liberia, there is no refueling station. Safety is also a problem. So there are a lot of other factors that are preventing airlines from going to Liberia. If we can now, like he talked about the economic factor, we can have an attractive area where people can say, "Look, I want to go to Liberia for vacations." Yeah, people can go. But not many people, even Liberians, we Liberians, we won't go to Liberia.
You guys just elected or selected or asked Princess Cooper to be your tourism ambassador. So chances are you'll have tourism on the rise.
So what I was saying is we Liberians, even the Liberians in the United States, when we want to go to Liberia because of necessity, because we want to go and do something for our people. I don't go there for vacation, and I know you don't go there for vacation. But I see most of my friends, like right now as I speak to you, I got about 6 Liberians who left from Houston. They're in the Bahamas, in the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico. These are Liberians. Now, if Liberia was that attractive, why would I want to spend my time in Puerto Rico and other places instead of going home? Because it will give me 2 benefits. I don't have to pay for a hotel, but I will enjoy myself while I'm there, right? So then I'll be contributing to the economy as well. But because we don't have anything to go to or to look forward to when we're going to Liberia, besides eating our natural diets that we were used to growing up, and also meeting our family members and providing the necessities for them, I don't see the need of going to Liberia. It's not because of tourism. It's not because of economic value to me. It's only to contribute to the country. That's the only reason some of us go to Liberia. Other than that, I don't see why. Now, if I was an airliner, would I want to go to Liberia when I have no profit margin and my plane is at risk? Or if, for example, if I travel from Mali to Liberia and anything happened to my engine and I have to make an emergency stop to Liberia, I may need another plane to come to me from Liberia because I won't have the technician to even fix my plane in Liberia. That's the reality. So, Sheriff, is it a reasonable request? Yes, it is a reasonable request. And are they right to ask the president for that request? Yes, to make that request, yes. But is it a reality? No, I don't see any fly who will want to go to Liberia to waste their energy or their resources when they're not going to make the profit.
Stephen, let me hear from you before I bring it, because these two guys, they have not agreed on any of the points I made. So let me hear from you before I bring my last point in. I think they're going to agree on our last point.
All right. So in terms of asking the French government or even asking our president to do that, is kind of like a premature on our Liberian people part. You have to understand business, right? I think the people that need to look into this are people that have money in Liberia, look at the business opportunity and say, hey, how many Liberians do we have that will fly from France to Liberia? Even before we ask the foreigners, we have Dr. George on here, who money getting around, you, Sheriff, your money getting around, Sapolosia, all of your money getting around. You can consider airline business and say, hey, how many Liberians do we have, even coming from DC or coming from Texas to Liberia, and look into the feasibility of starting an airline company to see if we can transport our own people. It's about time in the 20th century or something for us to start looking at opening businesses to help our people, because we keep referring this to the same companies that will fly away and say, oh, Air France don't treat us right, Air Brussels don't treat us right, but we're still begging them to come to Liberia. So I think just to add another part of this discussion is we should look into the opportunities of starting our own entity that will transport our people back and forth. And somebody have to look into that other than just the president. Some business person have to start thinking about that opportunity and say, hey, is this worth for us to do? If it is right, follow all the regulations and meet the business requirements. And what the discussion should be from the president of Liberia or the government of Liberia to France is, how can the Liberian airline fly to France? That should be the discussion we should be having, instead of asking another French entity to fly to Liberia. I'll go back in the background and keep sharing.
The little I heard when I don't know too many Liberian parables, but I don't even know if this comes from Liberia, but it was always said that beggars cannot be choosers, right? So basically, we're begging people to take us. So they treat us poorly, we'll still fly with it. You know, last time I was coming, I came with an airline from another country. You know, I'm not going to say the name of that airline, but they treated me very nicely. I enjoyed my flight, and so far it was good. And it didn't have to go through Europe. It was an African airline, and so I liked it. I enjoyed it, and I'm just going to keep it on that note. But gentlemen, I want to go back to another request that
but so why can't you promote it? Why can't you promote the airline that treated you good? That's for us to look forward to flying that flight. That's a good thing. It's an African airline, so why would you not want to promote?
You guys say you're not traveling, so why? So those
I do travel.
Those of us that travel, we know our airline. I mean, Ethiopia Airline was nice to me, so let me just put it this way. Ethiopia Airline was very, very nice. We were very courteous, and my flight, usually you leave Liberia and you get to the US and it's like already 2 a.m. in the morning. But no, when I got here, the sun was still up. And they took me strict from Liberia. We stopped a little bit in Cotonou, Benin. And from there, straight to DC. None of that hanky-pinky thing. And the service was great. I still got souvenirs that they gave me. I've not received a single souvenir beside airport from Brussels Airlines. But they gave me a pair of socks on Ethiopia Airlines. They gave me something to cover my face if I wanted to sleep, that sleep mask. And I think there was a blanket also. You know, I asked the lady, I specifically asked Dr. George, is this for keep or do I leave it in my seat? She said, no, it's yours. I said, Brussels Airline, I can leave in the seat. I can take it out. So she says yours. So I brought it. So they treated me very nice.
Why you can leave the seat on Brussels Airline?
Oh, the little blanket they can give you. You can leave it in a chair.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yes.
No,
can we go to the meeting now?
Ethiopia is a good airline in Africa and to US and Europe. Don't ride them.
Yeah, they were very nice. They were very nice. But anyway, let me go to the second point.
Don't ride them to Asia.
We have a major point that we should discuss today. Coming to take 30 minutes of our time for the president. We're not here to advertise Barack Obama.
If you want to ride Ethiopian airline, you can ride in Africa and ride to Europe and America. Don't ride to Asia.
You see, Dr. George, going into my time. Dr. George, you guys will only take 1 minute on this. The last request they made was they also want the right to vote. Diaspora Liberians to have the right to vote during major elections in the country. Now, I can see the messiness of that. It can be very messy. The logistical thing, I don't think we have that capability. To me, this was the most unreasonable request to make. But to you guys, how do you look at it? The right for diaspora Liberians to be able to vote in important election. I'm talking presidential election, or even maybe some of the primary elections in the country. Sapolis, let me start with you.
Yeah, so when it comes to election, I think we had a discussion. Steve and I had a show on that particular voting ability before. It can be done. It's not unreasonable. We have already asked for dual citizenship. We can do absentee ballot. However, we have to structure it in a way that it will benefit the country. And in fact, Liberia can even benefit from that. Okay? We are citizens of the country. We have dual citizenship. We may not be able to vote in like the local elections, but at least the presidential election, yes, we should be able to vote in that. Now, the way we can structure it is making arrangement between like either FedEx or UPS where you have a mail-in ballot and they send it out. We who pay, we can pay, right? We will pay for everything. Those that want to vote will pay for it. You pay for your ballot, your transportation, and everything. Go to like if possible, you can add additional. I'm willing to pay $200 to vote in Liberia. I am willing to. Okay, that will pay for the logistics. The only problem we have is the accountability factor, where we have credible people that will count elections in Liberia. That's the only problem we will face. But when it comes to the voting process and the logistics, I think those in the diaspora can pay everything for that, for those who are willing to do that. Now, voting integrity in Liberia as it stands, those are, in fact, for me, that's the only concern I will have when it comes to counting those ballots. That's the only problem I will have. But the logistics, we can cover that, and I know most Liberians in the diaspora will be willing to cover that expenses. But it's not a hard thing that cannot be done. We're already doing it in the United States.
All right, so Dr. George, go ahead.
Oh yeah, I think it's something we should do. I think there's a lot of Liberians living outside Liberia. In Dallas, there's about 5,000 to 7,000 Liberians. In Houston, maybe about 10,000. Good population in Atlanta. So in the U.S. alone, I think in Minnesota, we should have about 400,000 to 1 million Liberians that are here. And if the government can allow us to vote, that would be great. Some of us go home to vote because of the role we play in different political parties, but it's important that we have the right to vote. I think the issue would be the logistics. How do we work on the logistic? How do we make it free and fair? But if Ghana, Nigeria, I think Nigeria and Guinea, I think Guinea did that this year too, last year. If they can do it, then we can also do that too. It's important. I mean, they give us dual citizenship. I mean, those of you who carry other people's passport, you dual citizen. They give it to you all. So, so if they can grant you all dual citizenship, then why they can allow you to vote. So you can vote. You can vote on our side. You vote on your side. Anyway, you want to vote, you vote.
Steven, talk to me. You got 1 minute. Talk to me.
Yeah, so my 1 minute, I will say no, capital no on this one. Reason being, if we go back to the beginning of this discussion, we don't even have a way of giving our own people identity yet. Who identify Liberians? Ask me how many Liberians are in the United States, or ask our governor, our ambassador, how many Liberians are in the United States. You can't tell that. So if you don't know where your people are, then you say, oh, Liberians must vote. Imagine the amount of ghost names that will appear on the ballot. So let's fix the passport thing first. Fix our national identity first. Once we can give every Liberian in Liberia that don't have to pay bribe to get their passport, that don't have to pay bribe to get a national ID. Once all those things are solidified, then we can talk about voting. But if you're in face that one, you're plead to the voting thing from on Liberia shall ride. Thank you.
Well, if that is an argument, Dr. Passy, then Liberians should not vote because many Liberians don't have national ID card. The government don't even have a good census. In the last election that was held, that Boca won, they didn't have a proper census before election. So if that is your argument, then Liberians should not vote.
No, again, you want to take away fraud. You want to take away the integrity issue already lacking in Liberia already. Then you go bring something that will make election worse. Because right now, how many Liberians are in Texas? How many Liberians are in Minnesota? How many Liberians are in DC? If we can't do that,
that's something for you guys to do. I really want to go to the meat of my show, but basically, I think you guys discussion next time. You guys are community leaders in your different community. Dr. Foster, you were vice president for your community at one point in time. Sabalucia, I think you were somebody. Dr. George, I think you were somebody. You guys got responsibility to count all your people in. You should know how many people you have in your community.
No, we don't have that power. We don't have that power. Some Liberians don't even come outside.
Voting Verizon will not be working, so we have problems.
Some Liberians don't even come outside to identify in the community, so that we, the community leaders, don't have that power to do that, Sheriff.
You found me, right? You found me, right?
Huh?
Did I come outside? I came outside when you found me. You found me.
No, I found you on the list. Yeah,
So
But
that's what I say.
again,
What I'm saying is, let's do that show another time. Today we came here. I did my research for a particular show, not all these
All
different
right,
things we
gentlemen, let's
brought out
go.
here.
Let's get to it. Let's look at our, when we look at our country, we all push for national development. We want to see the country develop. We want to see the country go in a direction that would be attractive to people, so using Sabalusia words. And the way we had hoped to do it is by bringing legislative body together, and through the legislative body we are able to implement certain things, whether that person goes back to their community, to their county, and develop that county. We had hoped that these representatives, these senators, they will really work for the people. That is the intent. But for the longest, that have not been the case. Maybe since we're established, that have not been the case. Maybe we have had bright spots in the legislature, where you have people that were making differences in that community or in the area of specialties. But this has not been this consensus across the board. Now, is the legislature necessary? Do we need the legislature? Is the legislature stopping us from really moving in the direction that we want to go? Sabalusia, let me start with you. Go with Mr. George, and I'll come to Stephen.
So before I go to answer that question, I want us to see. I want to Liberians to know the power that they have first, because I think because of the lack of understanding of the power that the Liberians have, that the Constitution, and this is the Constitution of Liberia, by the way, the Constitution gave them. They already don't. They're not exercising it. But this is what Article 1, and that's the first thing, the first article in the Constitution. It states, and I will read word for word: all power is inherent in the people. All free government is instituted by their authority and for their benefit, and they have the right to alter. I want you to underline the word alter, and reform. Underline that word reform as well, for the same way their safety. We should be underlined, because that is something we're not finding in Liberia. And happiness. So your Constitution determines that happiness is very important. That's why they enshrine it in the book, right? For you to know. Your happiness so required in order to ensure democratic government which responds to the wishes of the governed, that is the people. The people shall have the right as such period and in such manner as provided for under this Constitution, to cause their public servant to leave office and to fill vacancies by regular election and appointments, right? And I want Liberians to understand that, because it's very important. Because somebody will say, oh, the Constitution does not allow this, the Constitution does not allow that. But the people in the country have more power than the writing here, because they can make changes in this Constitution. Now, when it comes to the legislature, and the reason we choose the legislature, because these people are the direct representation of the people. Okay, they are. However, I'm not going to speak to 1847 to 1980s or whatever, but in the last 20 years, the legislature, in my opinion, from my also, in fact, it's facts. It's not even my opinion. They have done nothing for their various constituents. For example, I will give you my district number 1 in Bon County, by Kokoya district. We have had few representatives for the last 20 years now, because this is 2025, that have been elected. Out of those people, they have become either a millionaire or a little over a millionaire. Those people that have been elected in that district. However, that district does not have one. They only have one high school, first of all, and that high school is in Palala, and it's not even equipped. No reputable hospital, no junior college, no good road network, no water system, no electricity, and these are things that are beneficial to the citizens of that country. However, these individuals live in luxury. So do we need them? I don't think so, because they're not representing the people. When the executive gave them one of the most important jobs that they have, when the executive gave them a concession agreement where they're supposed to look in and fight for their people, they just rubber stamp it, just as the executive gave it to them, and they give it back to the executive, and the executive carry on its duty. So if you ask me that question, I think we should suspend the legislature for now, until we can redirect the resources that they are getting into those districts so that we can create development, educate the mindset or educate the mind of the young people so that after 10, 15 years, when we reinstate in them, those people will be making informed decisions and not based on the rights they receive or the teacher they receive.
Okay, thank you, Sabalucia. Dr. George, please, the same question. Let's address it, and I have a second question on that same topic.
I didn't get a question clearly. I don't know. You.
So basically, we are talking: is the legislature needed in Liberia? Are they the problem? Is the legislature the problem for our economic growth, our economic development? We put them in the house for a reason, but basically their name have been changed from lawmaker to noise makers. Because when you watch the session, all you hear is noise, and so nothing concrete, nothing substantive is coming out of the house, going back to the community. People are living in the city and not even going back to their own community. I have friends that were in the legislature who did not even live within their own district. They don't live in their own district because that district, quote unquote, were too poor for them. And so they moved out of the district and they were governing from somewhere else. And so, do we need the legislative body if they cannot meet their responsibility to the people of their constituents?
Oh yes, in my opinion, yes, we need them. We do need them. Our constitution asks for it, and we need people from the grassroots to represent us. But if I was the one drawing the constitution, we'll have only one house, not two, and will be the Senate. 2 persons from each county sit and deliberate on issues, and so that would save us from paying a lot of salaries and a lot of monies to the others. But yeah, I mean, we need them. Are they effective? No, they are not effective. I mean, we've been discussing on other platforms recently the Pifafort agreement, consensus agreement, came from the president's office to the House of Representatives or the president's signature. And then it passed through the House of Representatives 4G. Most of the people in the House of Representatives did not see it, did not hear, but it got to the Senate. When it got to the Senate, that when the Senate reminded the president of it that, oh, your signature out on the paper, you need to sign it before you keep by, before you got the president's signature.
So that the judge had proven my point.
This is a concession contract that is worth $363.9 million. Can you imagine? You would think somebody, so they got a lot of wicked people, especially the speaker. But yeah, so if you have people like that, they pass it. But the thing is that every 6 years, in every election cycle, the Liberian people change about 75 to 80% of members of the House of Representatives.
But Dr. Josh, we don't have the time. That's the problem, though. We don't have that time to wait for 6 years.
I mean, that's our constitution. But what I'm sharing is that people change 85% of the people every 6 years. Then the new 85% come. I don't know what is in that house. By the time they walk through the door, they're no different for the other people that was changed. And then the senators, the Liberian people change 95% of them every 9 years. So it's not a blame on the Liberian Senate, the Liberian people. It's blame on those individuals who come into the community, quote unquote, come up to be savior, but only to go back to become monsters, eating up our economy. So personally, I believe we should have only one house. We do something that the system they have in Ghana, in Ghana and Great Britain, had a parliamentary system. When you voted in before you become government minister, then perhaps we'll be able to have we have something serious. You have the largest number of them. The same thing they have in Israel, and we have that system where you don't have to have all these so many people. But I think 2 persons from each county, a unicameral house. That's what I believe. That we spend too much money on those. 36.7% of our budget goes to that building, and yet then still a $369.9 million contract will pass. 73 people will not see it. 70 people will not see it. The gentleman, no, that's 73, right? We got a 102. Yeah, 72 people will not see it. And the president's signature will not be on the paper. Nobody will ask questions why the president's signature not on the paper. So that's the challenge we have as people.
Okay, Stephen, let me hear from you.
Well, Sharif, even though I was the one that brought this thing up a little bit, I think yes, for check and balance purposes, but we should amend the Constitution to spell out their responsibilities and the requirement they have to meet. The requirement they have to meet before they get in that position, because the thing is so open that any person can just get in that position and they don't even know what they're getting there for. You understand? So and put things in place like if you are representing a certain district, you have to live in that district, you have to be there, you have to have your home there, you come and stay among your people to see what the problem is that your people are facing. But these guys just get those positions, they start making that $8,000 to $9,000 a month, and they don't show up again until the next election. And people still don't have drinking water, people still don't have hospital, people still living in a deplorable condition they were living in before these guys got elected. So yes, but let's change the requirements. You have to have certain level of education. If education is not required, then we shouldn't call them lawmaker, because before you become a lawmaker, you have to be a lawyer. You understand? And all these guys, some of them, they don't have law degree, nothing, and they then go in there and they call them and say lawmaker. What kind of law are you making when you don't understand the law? You understand? So I will stop there, Sharif.
Yeah, but most of the people, they had degree, they gone to
All right.
school. They just didn't now. Now they didn't go to school, they went to school. But our law calls to record them. You know, we can record them. We can get, I think, 30,000 signature or whatsoever, maybe less than that. You can get a signature and record them.
So
yeah, it depends the district. It depends the population in the district.
So Dr. George, good point, but Liberian don't let to add on simple things. Sapolosia here wrote a petition for Liberian passport. The passport issue we're just talking about, for the government, for people to sign. We only needed, how many people we needed Sapolosia?
We need, I think, about 5,000. We only got, I think, 50. we got 50 people to sign it. Even though I share on all platforms. But yeah, it is what it is.
But okay, so gentlemen, but here's my thing though. I think the question of whether to have these legislative bodies is super important, because look, there are countries in the world that actually survive. They are doing great. They are way advanced. They are way developed than Liberia, and they don't have those bodies in place. They really don't, and they're doing just fine. Just on the continent of Africa, the country that we used to call Swaziland, Eswatini now, that's that name. That country, they don't have these things that you have in Liberia. However, though, it still calls for our constitution to be changed, like Dr. George was saying. If we say we don't want it today, we want to change our constitution, then I want us to go in the direction of absolute monarchy, because most of the countries in the world that really don't have this legislative body, they are absolute monarchy. Whether it's Saudi Arabia, whether it's Qatar, whether it's all these other countries, you name them, they have that thing in place. But we decided we want to have this thing called democracy. And democracy, look, I have no problem with the democratic process. Look, it represents people. We all come in, everybody put our 2 cents in. It's supposed to work well. But apparently, though, somewhere down the line, we missed the memo, because I don't think our people are benefiting from this system of government that we have in place. It's supposed to be perfect. It's supposed to be beautiful. It's supposed to flow, but people are not benefiting from it. And because they are not benefiting from it, it's okay to go back to the table, whether we want to go to just the House of Senate, or when we go to the parliamentary system, whatever that system is going to be, we have to go back. Right now, what we have in place, it's not working. Some of those people in their districts, like I was telling you about representative living outside of that district, that's not working for anyone. It's not working. I mean, you don't live in the district. What do you care if the school in that particular district is not functioning? And that is exactly the same mentality they take in the house, in both houses. You have representatives and you have senators in those houses who have no skin in the game. Their children are not in Liberia. They don't go to school in Liberia. So what do I care if LU fall apart? What do I care if the high school in my district is not functioning? They don't care for that. And because of that, I don't think they are needed. I don't think this like the legislature represent the people, and I think they are just there to enrich themselves. And because of that, look, if we were to have a constitution overhaul, constitutional redo, I would volunteer to be one of the people on that particular panel to redo our constitution. Sapalucia, go ahead.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
Steve,
and
yeah.
those
Go
are
ahead, Sapalucia.
yeah. I'm glad you and I are on the same page, because I think it is needed at this time, especially when I go back and do all these research comparing countries to countries in Africa. I don't want to talk about Western, because as soon as you talk about the West, then they will say, "Oh, this you can't compare apple to orange." But if you look at Africa, countries that have suffered war, and what you have seen, what they have done in their countries, using the same so-called democracy, and it's working for them, right? Even the payment system, and that's for me one of the main things that really bothers me is the salary structure in Liberia. That's the whoever came up with it. It doesn't make sense to me, and I will not wrap my head around it. I don't care how they explain it, because in order for you to increase a person's salary, you should look at the standard of living in that country. And what comes to standard of living? Electricity, healthcare, road, water, food. We have none of those in Liberia. So how did they come up with all these high level of standard of living? Because according to study that I researched last night, the standard of living in Liberia should be around $150 US, not Liberian dollars. What do we have? The country is in darkness, right? Here we are, a country like Rwanda, for example. I would let you look at Rwanda for how far they have come. A country like Rwanda, their budget is $3 billion with a B. And they pay their lawmakers $20,000 to $30,000 a year in Rwanda. $20,000 to $30,000. So let's go for $30,000 because that's the range they give. But let's go for $30,000 a year. And their budget of $3 billion, they say 40 to 70 million go to the legislature. But let's go with the 70 million. Look at Liberia. Do the same comparison. You make 800 million. 800 million. You're giving $44 million to the legislature. To do what? You pay each lawmaker, the representative, the least a lawmaker is making in Liberia per month is over $8,000 a month. And they're making the minimum $102,000 a year. To do what? To spend 2 days in the house and make noise? So if we want to keep the legislature, this is how I look at it. Let us pay people based on what they pay them based on performance. If we want to keep the legislature, that's how I think it should be done. Then you will realize something. But here we are, we have a legislature that is opaque as in the darkness of a rainy day, where no star is showing, no moonlight is out. That's how opaque it is. No transparency. You don't know how much go in there, and you don't see what is coming out. They refuse to be audited. They refuse to declare their assets, and you have no means of knowing what they really do in the house. So why are we giving them all this money if they cannot account for anything? One of their functions that they have failed to do in recent time that's continued to bother me is these high-level officials that are being dismissed, and they are not calling them to ask them what happened. That is their job. I'm not saying they're going to change the president's decision, but let the people know that these people were fired and what reason they were fired for. Crime rate in the country, murders have taken place in this country for years, from Ellen Tolinson, Harry Grieve, all the way to auditors, and even this year, under this administration. Those murders go unanswered. We have not heard one day where they call justice minister and question them. Those are their jobs. They're not functioning. They're not doing their check and balance. So why do we need them? And if it is not bothering the Liberian people that they are serving, I don't know why not. They're not needed. In my opinion, they are not needed. I rest.
Thank you.
Dr. Charles, let me come in and then we'll bring Steve in. Just on the
again.
Go ahead.
Again, it's important for us to have the member of the legislature. I think it's an important part of our democracy. And let me apologize. I found out from the Liberian Constitution there is nowhere in the Constitution that we can recall them. We have to wait for 6 years for the election to move them from there. So let me correct that with the viewers. But yeah, I mean, we waste a lot of money on them. We're not getting the benefit from it. When they call for agriculture break, instead of them go and make a farm, they come to America for vacation or go to Europe for vacation. So it's challenging. But again, that's what our law says. And I think we will not get weary. There is a book that says, don't get weary of doing good. We won't get weary of changing them. One day, the Almighty will hear our call and we get some good people that will go in there. Because some of the people that we supported, we felt that they were good since they rescued government came, they just on the other side. Everything they are, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. So,
but Dr. George, the president says say yes sir to another president. So what do you expect? Sorry,
yeah.
go ahead.
So
Go ahead, boss. Go ahead.
So what do we expect? I mean, so it's disheartening, but we need to continue working on this until we change this. I asked one gentleman yesterday why he forgot in the Senate that he won't go back there. You spend 9 years there. When you go to our country, we see nothing. We're struggling in the place. They kick you out. You say you won't go back there again for 9 years. Why you won't go there? Why you left there that you won't go back there for? So
well, the money he stole, he stole from
it's just frustrating. Some of the things that pass through the House of Representatives and the Senate, when you read the document, you just wonder what are they doing? So yes, we should change the policy. Again, in my opinion, we'll only have two persons for each county for check and balance purpose. I think there will be competition too. If we had two persons from each country, the competition will be high, and the person who go in there for that 6 years or 4 years will be on their feet, or perhaps we do it the way the American people can do it. You go for 2 years in the House of Representatives, and then 2 years. After 2 years, we'll move you.
But Stephen, I'm going to bring you back in, but let me just address this thing with Mr. Wallow. Wallow always give us hard time about just having gentlemen on the show, and we don't have a female voice. But definitely, though, Caroline, we're still trying. We have reached out to some females, but unfortunately, no one can be committed to what we do, even though we meet once a week. But most people just like, I don't know if I can do it. So, but anyway, if you're volunteering, we'd love to have you every Sunday. We'd love to have you here to come and join us. We'll send you the title and we'll discuss it together as a team. And another thing that Caroline said that I want to also kind of address is this particular comment that there are senators or lawmakers in the country in the United States who don't make near as much. And I can't really vouch for this, right? In my local state of Colorado here, even though he was a local representative, a state representative, the guy ran his campaign and he won. Actually, 3 people did it. Look it up. 3 people in the state of Colorado. By the time they only served 3 months, they decided, they said, no, they're going back in the private sector. They pulled themselves out. They said the money that they make in the legislature is not enough to support they and their families. So they went back in the private sector to work. And so that should tell you exactly what we are talking about when Sapolusi and Dr. George talking about the amount of money that is spent on our legislative body in the country, and we have no output. We don't see it. Now they can come and tell us, oh, I need it for community development fund. I'm doing this. I have 5 wells dug in my community. Most of those things, we don't see it. The bridge that Yeke Koluba built that he was boasting about, bragging about, the whole thing have gone. It has collapsed, and people are struggling in our community to cross from one point to another in his district, District 10, a prime district. And so, Stephen, let me hear from you. Let me leave my soapbox. Let me hear from you.
So, like Dr. George was saying, right? We have these guys sitting there for 9-10 years, right? Why? That's the first thing. So you pay somebody about 100 or 200,000 for 9-10 years, and that person don't deliver nothing. When we hire people, even in the corporate system, they hire people for what the person can deliver, right? Their salary is first determined by themselves. Who paid themselves? Tell me, Stephen, say, oh, Verizon hire me and say, Stephen, tell me how much you want me to pay you, or tell me your salary and we'll pay you that. Nobody do that anywhere around the world. Only Liberia. That the people that basically doing the job They pay themselves. They tell themselves that they want to pay them. And Sapolosa, he said something in the beginning. The constitution and things that we read in our country, then it's just for nothing, because the people don't have that power to say we want to drop the people's salary. Let's just start a petition to drop the senator's salary. Would that happen? No, we don't have that kind of power. So at some point, like that, the judge was saying, we may need that savior, maybe Jesus or Gabriel or somebody that will come and rescue Liberia from all these things. Because until we find that person that really care for the people, that value development, that value job creation, that value education, our people will still be going through the same thing. And it could be either one of you guys. Somebody need to take that stand. Caroline out there, all of us, somebody need to take that thing and say, I'm going to go to Liberia.
Yeah, no, we don't need Caroline to go in the house. We don't need Caroline to go in the house. We don't need her to be in the house.
No, I mean, any leadership role.
No, she's staying in her area. She's doing exactly what she should be doing. She's doing a good job. You know,
yeah,
what she's doing.
Any leadership role, Sherry, let me finish my thing. Any leadership role that will make a change. But the guys that are running this country, Sharif, I know Sapolosia is talking about Rwanda, but Rwanda, basically, Paul Kagame been there forever. We will have let Charles Taylor to remain in Liberia to this time.
If you're doing well for the country,
yes, I would.
You understand? So those are the questions we should ask ourselves. Are we willing to do that? Are we willing to do that? So until we find that person that is saying, hey, I'm going to put my foot down, I'm not going to even pay myself. The Liberian people will feed me your coke and bring me cassava today. Today I will call Lofa County and bring me Tobogi. I don't want no money. You'll feed me, and I will work, put my foot on the ground and work for this country. Our country will suffer. We need somebody that will take that stand and say, I'm going to fight for development for Liberia, and I'm going to do everything I can to move this country to the next level, and it will be left for the Liberian people. Since Apolosia said they have the power to say, hey, we having election, but we're putting this person back. Forget the constitution, forget everything. Once this person is developing this country, we'll keep re-electing them. And that's how Liberia will someday develop. But we can't compare ourselves with Rwanda, Burkina Faso, and all the other places right now at this moment, because people that are leading this country, they're not stepping away. There was one man army. This person keep leading with the same knowledge and skills he's been doing, and the country is moving forward. So maybe at some point, Liberia may need one person to run the country.
Guys, I got 10 minutes to end this broadcast. My guy said I could go for till about 12:10. So 10 minutes after. So Dr. George, I'd like to bring you in. I don't know if Sapolosia wanted to say something, but I'd like you to speak up.
Before Dr.
George come in.
Yeah, just quickly, it's just two things.
30 seconds.
I keep hearing this thing in the Liberian community and the African mentality, thinking that there is somebody sitting in some sky that can free you. That's a big lie. That's a myth. This is not a joke. We're talking about poor future. We shouldn't keep giving people the promises to make them feel that there is somebody sitting in some sky that will come and free them. This is the one that is crippling Africa, because they feel believing some God is in heaven that's going to send some rescue mission to come here and rescue them. That is a myth. It does not exist. It have not existed. Let us face the reality. Liberia needs if it is possible, a revolution that will change our direction. That's what we need. That's one. Two, look, it doesn't take rocket science to know that what is going on. We have to have a reference point, Steve. We can't say we can't compare ourselves to this. We have to look at somebody to compare ourselves to move forward. Before they say Steve need medication, they got to look at what Steve is today before they can prescribe medication for you for another condition. So we have to have a baseline. If we don't have a baseline, we can't do anything. Those are the 2 points I want to make sure.
Okay, Dr. George, go ahead. Thank you, gentlemen. Dr. George, go ahead.
Yeah, I agree with Mr. Sapolosia. And when the Europeans came to Africa, they told us, let us pray. So we'll close our eyes to pray. They took all our land from us by the time we open it. All this solution I would think that somebody will come from heaven to change it. It's not going to work. If you look at different European countries with their religion, they based on the ethics of that religion. For example, you go to Spain, the work ethics is the Presbyterian work ethics. If you come to the US, you have different ethics that are broad. I live in the Amish community. They are Christians, but they have big work ethic. They have their own stores. the farming system. The children don't go to school after 8th grade. So that was the work ethics they pick up. So all these things, every time we thought they said, let us go and pray. We've been praying. Even when Chatito was president, we have fast and prayer every year. We can pray every day. We do all the country still the same. They, I don't know, because the same people that pray, they'll be in the chair praying when they can't steal the money. They go to the chair pray, they can't steal the boy. The president.
We have president our pastor, so Liberia.
Okay, I'm not going as that, but the president at Deacon, we had Deacon as our president. We had Bishop as our vice president. We had all the holy people have got to run our country. Yeah, we stay to the same place. So I mean, I'm not against religion, but we have to change our thinking. Got to build our country by doing what is right. Even the Bible says that what you can do, God will not do it for you. You know, you can be praying the whole day. If you lift your feet for the bed to get up, you will stay in that bed, you will die in that bed. So,
hey, Pastor, yeah, you come and lose your job.
So, we got other people that been playing, that been leader of that country. We got to do the work. If we don't work,
gentlemen, but on a serious note, we got about 9 minutes to go here. But on a serious note, honestly, you know, I don't see the necessity to bring us back. I really don't see the necessity of the legislative bodies, just based on what I'm seeing. Man, look at district number 8. Prince 2. Prince 2 is the representative in that district. Look at district number 8. If I pass and drive through Buse Quarter, I got to hold my nose. I'm telling you, forget that. But this is the seat of the government. Mm-hmm. When the president can stand right there and look across the street and see the higher institution of learning. If that doesn't bother them, why else is going to bother them? If the seat of the government, if the legislative body there, if the people over there are not bothered by what they see, knowing that dignitaries can come to our presidential house. I don't even want to call it executive mansion, because when I went in there this year, I closed my eye. You know, but if they can go to our house and dignitaries come in there and they look and say, and the president can proudly stand and say, oh, that's the University of Liberia. If they can do that without squinting, then we got serious problem. But another problem we have, it is us. Because there have been professionals that have left this country during the early government. A lot of us left from here. Professionals that left this country, they grew up in a system here. They know exactly what professionalism is all about. We know exactly how to act professionally in our places of employment. We know exactly what needs to be done in governance. Some of us have held positions and we know ethics. We know what will happen if certain thing is done. But when they take us over there, by the time we get to Rawa Field International Airport, I think we just become like everybody else. And we get sucked in right into the system and nothing changes. So I agree with you guys. No one is going to do it for us. We will have to stand up for ourselves and say, look, we want this to be done. We want change to come. And look, Stephen, to your point, if I have a president like Paul Kagame, who is delivering, like I always say here in my district, I met with my representative, you know, Mr. Crow. He's a veteran military guy, straight shooter. He and myself, we don't have the same political party, but I voted for him because I like what he does. I don't care if his election comes again, I'll vote for him. Because, bro, when I drive on my road, I know exactly businesses that have come to the community that he fought for. Mm-hmm. I know exactly improvement that have come. I know exactly what schools are happening in this district, in this community, and what our kids are getting. I will vote. If it costs him to stay there until I die, I'll vote for him every time because he's delivering. So it's the same thing. If Charles Taylor was president and he's delivering, I will vote for him every freaking time. I will care less. I will care less.
All right, so I will just add another twist. So I know Sharif had brought this up earlier, but one of the problems that Liberia is facing is you have people that are in a system that are running a country that don't know the value of what they have, right? And I say this to say that when you look at China, they said China legislature, the people that run the government, the top brats, they are all engineers. So when they're making decisions to build a road, they're deciding on how many cars can travel on that road. When they're making decisions to build a school, they say, how can we educate our children so that by the time they finish school, these kids have something to contribute to society? You understand? So they're doing all these analysis of every situation on their future. How can we take over the world? Let's become a manufacturing in the country. You understand? So all these decisions are being made by people who understand where they're going. If you call our senators and ask them where you're taking Liberia tomorrow, what your plan to for Liberia future, I believe none of them will have any plan to tell you the direction Liberia is going in, and that is sad for us. So we now have to start asking these guys these big questions. The journalists then in Liberia have one of my own brother watching here. I know he worked for the government, but when he asks that question, he may lose a job. But ask them, what is the future of Liberia? Where is Liberia going? So that we can start having these discussions instead of somebody talking about how their district don't have well, or they put one well in their district and they celebrate. I would be ashamed to come on TV to show that I put well in my community. You understand? That should shame them. But anyway, I'll stop here, Sharif. You go ahead.
Dr. George, we're wrapping up here. So you got 1 minute, your closing remarks. And then, Stephen, I'm coming right back to you for your closing remarks because I want somebody to go last, and then we'll end this broadcast.
I want to thank our viewers for joining us this evening. Great conversation with the team. I know I've not been around for a while because it's just, I just get called every weekend. We've been losing a lot of workers, but we thank
God. How are you struggling to make that point? So what happening?
His mercy. I'm not struggling. Thank God for His mercy. But it has been a good conversation, and it's important for us as Liberians to have a look at all these things that we have in our country. The legislature, are they doing the work as we want them to do? The answer is no. Many of them live in communities. They see abject poverty, but yet they still feel comfortable making $10,000 a month. Why there are thousands of people in the community that cannot afford 1 square meal a day, just one meal. They are struggling with that. That's $250 Liberian dollars. There are people in the community who are making $150 a month. Why they are taking home $10,000. The same person in the community have to leave from Pinsville to go teach on Broad Street. That person is spending about $1,200 on his $27,000 a month to transport himself. So we need to take governance serious in order to lift our people from poverty. It's a shame to be living in a community where everybody around you are in darkness, and you're the only person that had a generator in your house. There was a time we thought it was being successful, but it's a shameful thing to do that, because one of these days, when those people who are in darkness continue to see light in your house, they may enter your house so they can know how light works, and you will not be happy with the way they will enter that house. So that's the reason why you should put light in everybody's house. You know, when I was in school as a young person, they had this thing in international relations that we used to say, when your house is on fire and your friend come and take a bucket to put your house on fire, it's not because they love you. They're doing it because if the fire pass your house, it's going to come to the owner house. So if in order for the fire that to reach to the house, to put your own off first. You know, everybody can help you to put your own off. And that's the thing about growing a country. We have to help people to come out of poverty so that when the fire leave their homes, it may not enter our home, because it will. Your children will pay for this one. In Liberia, our generational wealth, stolen generational wealth, only end at the second generation. By the third, fourth generation, on the average, by the third, fourth generation, that wealth is going away, and there's deep poverty in your family. So if you think you're stealing from us today, your children, your grandchildren will be the one to pay for it. So just make sure you pull everybody up so we can enjoy that country. Now you alone should enjoy it. Thank you.
I want nobody to text me and say your friend swear in our country. They may get phone number, call him. Don't call me. Stephen, go ahead.
After you said Sapolosia, then
I said, Stephen, go ahead. That's what I said. For sure.
All right. So for me, I got a solution. I got a solution, gentlemen. Listen to this carefully. And some of your politicians here, I would
That
suggest.
30 seconds, the way you lean back, you start talking 30 seconds. Oh,
I mean, you get that a Jordan time here. You can be biased on me. Or,
like the judge been gone for a long time. The man struggled to
okay.
even tell us why he been
All right,
gone.
let me go, Sharif. Quick, I will do this quick. So I got a solution. Shapolosia said the Constitution gave our Liberian people power. So I'm going to ask all Liberian people to come up with something where we will drop the senator's salary to $4,000 a month. Whether they like it or not, we pass that petition, they go $4,000. And the way they will get more money is the amount of job you create in your district. Based on the amount of job and opportunity you create in your district, you get certain percentage of the taxes that is collected from your constituency, right? So if you help people, if you have 10,000 people get job, you get 1% of that 10,000 people taxes that they will pay back to the government. So that money will come back to you. So in a way, you can become more, you can make more money if you create more job. If you create more opportunity, you make more money. So we're paying $4,000 starting salary. After that, you have to find a way to make your extra money and through taxes that you raise. And that's what I'm suggesting on this show today, so that our senators can provide value for their district that they represent. Because if you in your district and you make 0%, you won't create no job, you won't get nothing back. So that's what I'm suggesting. And if the Liberian people can take the lead on this, the power that our brother Sapolosia say you have in your constitution, I think we have a way to change Liberia tomorrow.
Man, Stephen, you are so predictable. I knew you were going to say Sapolusia's name. That's why I make you go before him. Sapolusia, address Stephen.
Yes, sir. So, I'm not going to go to Steve's direction, but the solution I have is this. We got two options here. We either keep the legislature and pay them based on job performance, or we suspend them for 10 years, use the money we have to redirect it in the various districts they're from, to provide education, to provide infrastructure, building, roads, healthcare, and so forth for those 10 years. And if the Liberian people need us to sit and discuss this, I am willing, because I already have the plan that I have written down on how we can approach this when it comes to suspending the legislature and using the resources to redirect to those various districts that they're from, so that it can benefit the people directly. But it does not really make sense that we're giving a person $8,000 from a district. He spends 18 years there. But in the same district that he has spent 18 years and receiving no less than, $100,000 a year, which if you multiply for 18 years, you're talking about, 1.2 million every year, times it by 18. 1.2 million times 10, that's about $102,000 times 10, that's about 1.2 million. Okay, if you put that in any community, it will develop it. Like for my home, for example, if you use $1 million in district number 1, you can build yourself one moderate hospital that can provide you laboratory service, OBGYN, and so forth. Okay, if you do that every 10 years, that money you direct into one single person, it will benefit thousands, 20,000, 30,000 people if we reinvest that money in those places. Here we are, we built a clinic in my district for less than $3,000. Now think if you take that $100,000 you spend every year for one person, if you can start diverting those resources in those countries. We don't need lawmakers to build us where. We don't need lawmakers to build a road. That is the function of the executive government or the executive branch. What you should be doing is looking for resources to put in your community. Look for factories. When you bring concession agreement in front of you, put a stipulation in there and say, this concession agreement for my district should provide road. And until that road is connected, the company cannot start. Those are things we expect our lawmakers to do. Before this company can open, let them build a factory. Then that factory will employ our people in our community. Other than that, Mr. Executive, we're not approving this, this concession agreement. That is the power the lawmakers have. That is the power the citizen gave you. But instead, you are using it just to enrich yourself. So my point here today that I'm giving to the Liberian people is ask your lawmaker either to take the money, the work that they do, let them give you the work that they do and you pay them for it, or you suspend them, redirect the money to your communities, develop your community, educate our people for 10 years so that they know when they come in to vote, they know what to vote for. That's the main thing. I want us to know that. Educate the young people for the next 10 years so that when they are going to the voting booth, they know why they're voting for these people. With that, I want to say thanks to all those that are tuned into our broadcast. I hope you share this, and I hope you start to ponder on the value of what you have in your country. Is your legislature really needed to run your country? If so, what have they done in the last 20 years? That's the question I leave with the Liberian people today. Thank you.
On that note, we'd like to say thank you to everybody who joined our broadcast today. To our friends at Freedom FM 87.9 in Monrovia, we say thank you for taking the broadcast live. Dr. Emmanuel George, thank you for appearing today. Stephen, the CEO himself, thank you so much for your time. And Mr. Sapalucia, we really appreciate your input. Look, my government is shut down right now. I can say my government. The government is shut down. The government is shut down. And basically, there is one point of contention that is actually still making things sticky. Democrats are saying no. Republicans are saying no, because there's one point. Whether you want to call it Obamacare or whether you want to call it incentive for insurance company, that sticky point is making the lawmakers to say no. But I want us to learn from this. I know Sapalucia said he doesn't want to compare Liberia to the US. We're not doing that. But what we are saying here is lawmakers are there to fight for their people. Now, the reason you see the government shut down here today is because there are lawmakers on both sides that are saying, you know what, this is not fair for my people. This is not fair for our people that we represent. Because of that, we don't agree, we shut it down. Close the government down. And if it continues to go, who knows how long we will continue to go. But they are standing for that belief. They're standing for what's going to be fair for the left, what's going to be fair for the right. That is exactly what Sapalucia is saying. You stand up for your people and you fight for your people. You fight for your people, because tomorrow when you go back to your people and you talk to them, they might tell you, our power, I think we get enough now. You've done your best. Thank you. You fight for them. And that is the work of our legislature. Our legislature have not done so. They have not done anything. And because they have not done so, I would definitely say we definitely have to leave things the way it is. I am in favor of getting rid of everybody. Let's start over. Because if we do so, the country can now start as a young baby and we can work our way up. On that note, until then, we say thank you so much for joining us. Next week, we are going to be here same time, 7 p.m. Liberian time, and we are going to bring you another edition of This Could Be You. Stay safe. God bless you, and we'll look forward to speaking with you next week.